Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my podcast, Live Your Best Life Every Day. I have the pleasure to have a special guest today, and his name is Sergio. Hi Sergio, how are you?
Hello Stephane, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for hosting me.
The pleasure is all mine. Okay, Sergio, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive further into this?
Yes, of course. Well, it's not a lot that you can guess just from the name, so I'll explain. I am from Mexico, born and raised. I had some experiences in the work field and the education field outside of my country. I was always very eager to go outside, so I feel like my main motivation has been to get to know as many, places and cultures and people as I can. I was very fortunate to study in Germany for one semester of my major. Then after coming back to Mexico, I finished my studies, and then I did 1 year of work in Brazil in the marketing field. My major, by the way, is international trade and logistics, so it was kind of, right. So then after working 1 year in Brazil in the marketing field, I came back home. I stayed there. Then the pandemic hit, and I started working for a logistics company back home, which is international. And I had a lot of contact with other people. And I had a lot of contact, which is with the topic that we're going to kind of talk about. I don't want to get ahead, but in terms of the corporate world and in terms of this kind of ladder that we all feel that we have to climb. And then I was a bit done, as we all were in the pandemic. I was so tired and frustrated, and I wanted to go out again as soon as I could. And I found an amazing opportunity here in Dubai, working at the Expo 2020. So I was working for 6 months for a company called EP World. And after they finished, I came back home for a month to kind of clear my head, as we all need, to gather some energy. And then I got a job in the same kind of company in logistics that I was working for before, but this time in the Dubai office. So this is kind of like my experience in the workplace. Yeah.
And that led us to right now.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And without further delay, today's topic is going to be about fulfillment and success. We're going to be discussing about that, and of course feel free to comment in the comment section, or perhaps DM us on our social media platforms to give us your insight, and of course in case you would like to discuss this further, be part of the podcast on the next episode. All right,
is it like in YouTube, click and subscribe at the end?
It's going to be on YouTube definitely. Okay. And of course there's also a link that people will be able to actually click on, and I broadcast this widely on my social media platform as well.
So remember to subscribe, guys. Thank you.
Definitely remember to subscribe. All right, let's dive right into it. So Sergio, when we speak of fulfillment and success, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Okay, so obviously, like we were talking about this before, the first thing that comes to mind comes from the societal expectation that success has an economic connotation. So the first thing, honestly, that comes to mind is what you see in movies, what you see in media, what you see reflected on the person with the briefcase.
Oh, yes.
and like going into the office and, having like meetings and having this busy life, and then just coming, back home and then starting over. So for some people, I would say that that's success. And that's my first impression. Like, obviously, if you delve more into the topic, you know that it's not the case. And fulfillment, the best thing that comes to mind, honestly, it's just happiness, I think. It's an emotion rather than a place. I think fulfillment, for me, the first thing that I think is happiness. Like, just being, good with yourself in all the ways that a person can be. And we can talk.
Well, that's interesting, actually. That's quite a good way to put that, you know? And let's move forward to the next question, actually.
Yeah.
So, many people have the tendency of, of not being able to distinguish success from fulfillment. That's at least the opinion that I've been able to gather when I spoke to many people about this.
Yes.
Now, you tell me from your perspective, does fulfillment and success go as a pair?
Yes, I actually do think that that's the most healthy way of looking at it, because if we separate them, then we are kind of compromising one for the other, right? So we are saying that I have to be successful, but then I won't be fulfilled. So I'm going to invest everything that I have into whatever is that I think success is, whether it's money, whether it's like a better job, whether it's like this. But then I am at the expense of my happiness or my fulfillment per se. As humans, we have many dimensions. Like we're not just one dimensional. We're people that have different interests. We're people that have different, abilities, different interests. So I think that the most healthy way is when we pair them up together. Why? Because if my own definition of success ends up being how am I gonna end up as happy as I can, obviously with all my efforts put in the right place, and obviously with also all the attention that my family requires, that my friends require, that I require as a person, in the spiritual sense of the human, in the health sense of the human. If you do sports, like sometimes you even feel more fulfilled. So if we start to define success as all the ways in which a person can be happy by first indulging into all of the areas that we feel we can get on board. Like, for example, if I'm a person that works in a white collar job, which is 8 to 5, but then I also have other things that I like. I might want to sing. I might want to,
personal trainer.
Yeah, be a personal trainer, exactly. Like I might want to do many things and many other aspects. So I think to find the balance in between all this should be what's considered as success. Not necessarily the traditional, movie like and romanticizing of the extra working and the just work, this kind of culture. So I think they should go in pair, definitely, which is not the case sometimes.
Unfortunately, we've seen society actually pushing people to either choose one or the other. The image of success that society gave us, medias, mainstream and everything, they give us a certain image of success and what it should look like actually. Yes. But what that doesn't teach people is what it should feel like.
Yeah, and I think it comes along with, like, we can talk about the different activities that people have for work. Like some people are businessmen, some people work for a company. But in general, I feel that something that was probably the paradigm before, like the structure before, is that you have an employer and you go do your work and you have to do the work and that's it. And like the employer doesn't care like what happens to you at home, like what are your fears, what are your concerns, what you actually want to do. And then I feel like it's very positive for some companies that are international, some companies that have more exposure to younger people. Now they're beginning to think and to see the human and the development of their employee as a base of how their company is going to have success. So some employers are implementing activities, are implementing other parts that it's not just your work and your job description.
Absolutely.
It's an important focus of the HR department that their employees also have this kind of other things that they can do, because in the way that you are happier, in the way that you are more fulfilled, as we say, you are going to be a better asset for your company. So I think that's like the shift that's happening. I think it's good. Unfortunately, it does not reach many other places. We cannot escape that people have their own realities and people have to put the bread on their table and people have to take their kids. And it's too much for one person to have all this pressure that they have to provide and they have to achieve, as we say, success or climb the ladder so they can get a better salary, but then they left out everything that they are as well for the sake of their beloved ones, which is the case that we see in many type of cities, many type of work cultures, as we were discussing the other day. So I think that the key of a successful company and a successful individual is fulfillment in the holistic sense of the word.
Absolutely. It's all about finding the right balance, actually, That's well said, actually. And now, tell me, do you think that society, let's say, we live in a city like Dubai, for instance, and since we are here, do you think that the structure of the city as a whole, when it comes to the work environment, for example, or the work culture, like you said it, do you think that there is there is a way that we could effectively apply that in all companies, for example? Because many HRs these days are actually quite into that, establishing the work culture. Ever since COVID and everything, many people are all about mental health, and this rise of the mental health movement actually is pushing even HR departments to come up with things. For instance, like there are companies whereby they are like every 2 to 3 months there are activities where employees can actually participate. Some companies even organize like contests, for example, internal contests within employees, like talent show, whatever or something.
Yeah.
But not many companies can do that. And like you said, there are realities. When you go in construction, for example, I mean, the construction guys can't really, I don't see that happening in their field.
Yes, but you're like, okay, guys, let's stop building this. We can wait. Let's go play cards.
Unfortunately, and that's where reality hits hard. And I think that many people actually not only have lost the sense of actually feeling or being fulfilled at what they are within what they are doing. Let me say within what they are doing, because at the end of the day, you could be doing something, you could have a job, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are actually being fulfilled at what you are doing, or within what you are doing.
Yeah.
And I think that the feeling of fulfillment is something that can be built as well. Now, it may not be there at first, but once you gain awareness that you are lacking that, and I believe that many people these days go to work. Guys, you heard that was the noise of a chair.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
So,
I provide the sound effects.
Exactly. So, many people tend to go to work, and for some reasons, they just feel like something is missing. And they will change company, they will change countries, and so on. And the same thing keeps happening. And where we want to draw their attention now is to the fulfillment part of it. If you don't feel fulfilled, you will always feel like something is missing, And for many of us, our fulfillment lies in something else than what we usually do from our, our daily jobs.
Yeah, the endless conversation of what I love, but what brings the money.
Exactly.
With what I pay the bills, of course.
I'll tell you something very interesting, actually. I was confronted to that years ago because as a kid, I've always loved pastry, and I've always wanted to, work as a chef or own my own pastry. And when I came to Dubai, of course, I saw that, oh, wow, I was in the hospitality industry. There's possibility to actually, cross-train and get into a different department and everything and stuff. So I did that at the Address Boulevard in downtown. So I cross-trained into pastry. And after doing the required hours and everything and stuff, I went on actually to start working as a chef. Now, my sister, who has a very sound mind, advised me against that. She said, no, you don't do that. That's like a career suicide.
That's unfortunate.
And I told her, but I want to live my passion. Yeah. So that's me trying to find fulfillment in something that I do, Yeah. But guess what? When she told me that, I didn't listen. I said, no, I want to follow my passion. Little did I know that by following that, I wouldn't have the same income that I would get outside of it.
Yeah.
So I left an office job and dived right into operation and culinary.
Right.
And trust me, 6 months down the road, I felt like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And it was hard. Yes, I was doing what I loved, but then what about
expense? Yeah, like
exactly.
I'm not having the way of life, the level of life that I'm supposed to be having.
Exactly. And already, let's say, when you already have a certain level of life prior to that, it's quite hard.
Yes.
And especially here in Dubai, you get put in a certain box depending on the industry and the job that you do.
Yes.
I don't think it's the case elsewhere, But here in Dubai, it's pretty much that. And it's very strong. And when I realized that, I had to pull myself out of it.
So you were like, I'm so sorry, guys. Here are the knives.
But guess
Please
what?
take out the buns before they burn. I'm gonna leave now.
We can actually say it was it was pretty much like that, but it wasn't me saying that. I remember there was this guy from the Netherlands, actually the executive chef, and he told me, "Listen, you do not belong in the kitchen." And when he said that, it kind of did hurt my feelings.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it did. But he told me, I'm not saying that in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I believe that you have much more to offer than this. And I feel like you are limiting yourself.
He knew that environment was going to crush you at the end if you were not happy with the living conditions.
Absolutely. And he told me that, he told me out of everyone here, you're the most outspoken person. You are the one who is always curious to know about things and everything. However, the system here is you get paid to do something without asking questions. And that's it. So you either do like everyone, but I have the feeling like you are too educated to be in this environment.
Yeah.
When he told me, you won't understand me now, you're probably going to hate me. But years from now, you will get what I meant. And truth indeed, 2 years down the road, I understood him. It took 2 years. And believe me, it was not easy to get back to the earning side. And once I did, I now have to find the balance. How do I find fulfillment in what I do?
I know.
Today, I'm a digital marketer.
Yes.
And I can tell you I am fulfilled in my line of work. It is something that I love. I love creating. Now, when we talk about soft skills and transferable skills, what does a chef and a digital marketer have in common? Creativity.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, obviously, there's always skills that you can extrapolate and use into a
Exactly. And sometimes, in order for you to find fulfillment in something that you are not really passionate about, you need to be able to find something that you can transfer from what passionates you to what you have to do.
Yes.
And usually it's a skill. That transferable skill, once you do that, actually, you are able to feel the same way.
Right.
Believe me, being a digital marketer, I love the creating aspect of it. I love the fact that, listen, you have like a blank sheet of paper or whatever, or something, okay, or a canvas or whatever. It's blank and you have to create. It's the same thing as pastry. Let's say when you have to come up with a recipe, for example, you have to create.
Yes.
And that creativeness, that's what is the essence of my fulfillment for me. Now, I think many people lack that or do not know how to get there, you know? But at the end of the day, it's all about finding that middle ground. Like, how
it's about the early stages of education. So you touched many things, actually. I will go one by one because I was making my notes. So this first one.
I think I was the one supposed to take notes, not you.
Okay, but what you mentioned about vocation, basically, like what you were describing is vocation, finding what you love at an early stage and then finding the crude reality that one thing might not support you as well as the other one. That's exactly what I went through as well. When I was, when you're like 17, 16, when you're about to enter college, like in high school, we would get like this kind of majors or like this kind of specific subjects that would go to a different, path. You could go to the social sciences or you could go to the, medicine people and the artists, so you kind of have this path. So you can try before you actually go into college. I think that's very good. But at the same time, I think that our young people need to be more encouraged to pursue careers that they love, because in terms of the things that they love is the best they're going to perform. However, the reality is that they're not going to get paid well, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing that I would like to talk about is vocation. So I don't divert. I think that we need to do a better job in our schools to try to find what people like, what people are motivated with, and to kind of change the way in which the grades are from 0 to a 10 or whatever in a very objective way, rather than sometimes we have subjective skills that are not well developed. And also we have to stop with this narrative, like first, that you're not going to make money if you're an artist. It is true. It can be true, yes, of course. But it's good if you pursue it at least on the side, or at least you try to develop these skills so you actually know, okay, and then you have your own taste of reality. It's very good when we are, delusional, like with ourselves, because we need to have confidence, right? But then at some point you need to know what you can do, what are your possibilities, and you have somebody to tell you, okay, so actually this is good, this might not be good. So I think this first part of the fulfillment. And then what you mentioned, I am going to be a baker, a pastry maker, a pastry chef, but I'm sure that in this industry I won't get paid enough. Why? So we have to go deeper into that route. There's something called the I only know this in Spanish, the professionalization of the when it's not a career or a major or like a science, but it's a skill. So then you professionalize. If I am a baker, then I'm going to be professionally one. If I am a shoemaker, I'm going to be a very good one, and I'm going to have an education for it. If I am a construction worker, I'm also going to have this kind of professionalization of my skill, my office. Like, I don't know how to say. God damn it.
It's okay, they will get it.
Yeah, please get it. If anybody speaks Spanish, profesionalización de los oficios is what I want to say.
Ajá, sabe cómo hablo español un poquito.
Sí, no sabía.
Sí.
Bueno, let's continue in Spanish.
Yes,
actually.
please. Okay.
Okay, so and this rings bells. In Germany, for example, that's why there's not so much disparity in between the income that a CEO or somebody makes in between somebody that does a more common job. There's studies that say which workers are actually essential, and we're not paying these workers what they deserve. If a garbage collector stops collecting garbage for a week in a country, you would go into a national emergency. If the bankers stop working and stop collecting your money, people find a way to manage their money. There's people that are not essential, and we're not paying them equally. Why? Because we're not valuing them. The people that deliver our food now in the pandemic, the nurses, the people that are like at the first stages for help, So in the sense, when we start to value these people and we start to actually making them competent and more competent, it's not that, because I could not go into college because of whatever reason, that I'm going to end up being a pastry chef. It's not the case. You actually should be very good and very skilled and have an education for this, because everything takes learning and everything requires skill and everything requires time invested, so you become better. So in countries like Germany, this happens. Like, people are actually better prepared to do this kind of jobs, to be an electric, the person that fixes, this.
Yes.
They have to know, and they're paid better. My dad actually did his dissertation in this kind of topic, and I always remember he would always say, in these countries, like, there's not such disparity, and people do what they love, because they know that there's not going to be so much disparity between a boring job that we can call. I'm sorry if there's any accountants or any lawyers. We need the boring people, or the people that move on the society, of course. But for some, like, these are jobs.
And disclaimer, we love you, though. We do love you.
No, we do. I love them. But what I mean is, we should not just go to these jobs without actually wanting to, because there's people that love to be lawyers. There's people that love to be accountants, right? But you have to love it, right? So let's not just have people that just have to do it. That's the first thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's a little bit where society comes in. Society has kind of like structured people, or programmed people to believe or think that if I'm an accountant, I'm doing something.
I was told that. I was like, okay, so what should I go? I am kind of good at math, and I think I can, like, I like languages. I remember I loved languages. I was like, I would want to study philosophy, or I would want to study literature. But then they were like, no, maybe go to something like more, tangible for you in the future.
That's the word they use for that.
That can provide for you, right? And that's how I chose my major. I'm not saying that I don't love it. I'm not saying that I regret it completely, because it has taught me a lot of skills that I'm grateful for. However, I wish somebody before had been like, okay, there's this other array of possibilities that you have access to, and that you don't have to be scared whether you're gonna make it at the end of the month or not. So that's one of the topics.
Was that just one point?
That was just one point.
Oh my God.
You spoke also as well.
Oh my God, guys, we're going to be here for a while. Just grab some tea or coffee or something, and get comfortable, because he has, like, if I'm looking at his list,
it's 6 pages filled with comments and attacks to Stephane.
Oh la la. I need to get some more tea as well, guys. Get comfortable. It's about to get, like...
Yeah, it's because these topics are so not well taken care of by our society and by the people. And then you also asked something about how in Dubai, because I'm new to Dubai, disclaimer as well, like, I just got here, guys. But I can sense the work culture is quite different from other places.
It is.
The amount of hours that a person works does not equal effectiveness in your work. Like, when you are actually
productivity.
Yeah, productivity.
Yeah,
it does not equal that. And here it's a synonym, which is alarming, because then it means that you have to work more hours to again reach success. You have to be the one that stays until late and then begins in the morning first than everyone else. So you are considered successful, and so you are actually able to finish your job. The work culture everything should be at its time, and we have also a life, right? So then what I noticed in Dubai is that there's many nationalities, obviously, but also I find that, unfortunately, due to the high levels of migration, there are some people from central countries that have to, because of their circumstances, they accept this kind of jobs without any hesitation of how much work I have to do, or if I don't have any limits between the hour that I come into work and the hour that I finish. So then it makes that the culture in general of work becomes more heavy and becomes more unbearable for the newcomer. And I can tell, because I'm working in the logistics field and I see all these people, they're so hardworking, but they work too long, in my opinion.
Let me stop you right there, because you are spilling some tea that deserve an episode of itself. Okay, guys, what he's just talking about, you know about that. If you live in Dubai, you are aware of what he's getting into. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that into a different episode altogether, because that needs to be addressed. Okay. That needs to be touched. Okay?
The culture of Dubai, like the
Dubai work culture. That will be the episode title. So just write it down there, the Dubai work culture.
Yes. How do we do this? Season 3 of
I mean, it will be in the next episode. This is episode 1 where you are seeing Sergio featuring and sharing his insight.
And I'm gonna be more upset later. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Wait. So back to it. Okay. Regardless of the work culture, as we're talking about, in the sense of fulfillment, in the sense of success, I feel like the people that are on the bottom, on the entry levels of the work, sometimes don't have that easiness to go about and be like, okay, I really want to be fulfilled, so I want to find these activities. Because why? It's just a basic principle that when someone fulfills their basic needs, they're able to think more. They're able to come up with solutions to improve a process, to improve your work, to make everything more effective. As you mentioned, to work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
So then if I don't have the space, I don't have a second of my day of work to come up with these solutions, I just continue like a robot. So then whose responsibility it is to make the worker fulfilled? The people at the top, the people that have the power, the people that are in these positions of power, they have to know that your worker has to be happier working for you than somewhere else. And what is the factor that's going to make your worker stay with you regardless of how much money they offer? If your worker is happy here with you, then you have nothing to worry. And how do you make them happy? You listen to them. What are your afflictions? What are your pains? What worries you actually at night? Like, what is the thing that keeps you up, better said, So if people have this interest, if the people at the top start to have this kind of leadership, this kind of management, that's not just do, that's a leader rather than a manager, that's when we become to make people more fulfilled.
Definitely. I think that could be a way to go about that, but you know what? I always like to give people at least 2 options. That's one option, But what if the manager or the leader is not able to do that actually? I don't believe that should stop us from achieving ourselves, or from being fulfilled. And my other advice, aside from that, so advice number 1, like Sergio says, is being in a place or a corporation or a structure whereby you have a leader who actually cares about the people of the company. That's one option. But the second option would be if you do not have a leader that has the time, for example, or perhaps the culture of doing that, what you can do is, outside of your working hours, when we talk about weekends, whether you have 1 day off or 2 days off per week, weekends are not for resting or for escaping your life, okay? Days off and weekends are for you to build the life that you want for yourself. Mm-hmm. Your week is to build the life that you have to build. The weekend and your day off, you build the life that you want for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we will never have everything the way we want it in life, unfortunately. Yeah. You may have a great boss, but at the end of the day, the work perhaps is too tiring, regardless of because some industries, it doesn't matter, even if you have a very good work culture, the work is just exhausting. And after that, you don't feel like you can do anything. But the thing is, you must find it within yourself, okay, to join both. Because if you manage to feel fulfilled in your line of work, definitely for me, that's already success. I know that the mainstream, social media and everything have portrayed success for you having tons of money and everything, blah, blah. But for me, success at the end of the day is, if you are fulfilled, that's the greatest form of success. Because fulfillment gives you a certain peace of mind. There is that inner joie de vivre that you have, And of course, when you have the job that goes with it and everything, that's it. Success is not a means to an end. No. Success is continuous.
Yes.
I don't like to believe, or I don't like when people are trying to say, he's now successful. No. It's a work in progress. It's a process, and it doesn't stop. Like, just look at the Kardashians, for example. They are fucking billionaires, you know? But guess what? They still go to work.
Yes.
You know, they still put out new products, lines, creating
like that meme of Kim Kardashian, like, get your ass to work. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that actually. Tell us about that. I need to check that out. Tell me.
No, it's just a meme where she's like, they're like talking, I don't know, they're doing like a commercial or something, and they're like, I just wanted to be Kim. It's like, if like, get your ass to work, you know? No?
Yeah. No, I didn't actually get your ass. I get it now. Yeah. I get it now.
Anyway, I do agree with you in most of it, but I also think that for some people it's so hard to escape that reality. Like, as much as you can say, okay, I have to find it with myself to, on this free time and this weekend, whatever, to do it. Like, I understand and I feel it for the people that are honestly exhausted. Like, I just come from a friend's house that I will not disclose the name, but he's like kind of tired of his work, and today it's supposed to be a free day in Dubai, as people in Dubai are hearing us. I hope you're enjoying. But he came and he came from work basically all day as well. So then at the end of one day, when you are completely exhausted, like sometimes your brain can like go. Yeah. And I understand that there's a push that you have to do. And of course we all have to, but then I speak for myself, like looking at myself, I'm a single person. I don't have any worries but myself, and even I'm struggling. So I cannot even imagine like a person that has other types of responsibilities, like children,
a family,
like, you know, family, like other things that burden you. So it's really hard to escape that. That's why I mentioned that we needed like kind of the support of the environment and of the leader. That's what I feel. And it is my great wish that if I end up being in a position of leadership, I will strive to try to make it better for everyone below and for myself as well, you know? So this is something that the younger generation is understanding, I believe. These new ideas of a futuristic society in which we have only 20-25 hours of work a day, like it's proven that poverty itself, it's not efficient, and we can actually manage to give the work to more people so we can do less as well and to be more efficient in some of the ways. These are topics as well for other
absolutely.
But I feel like there's a way, and it just comes with the culture, with the people, with the ones that are below, to tell them, okay, like the ones that are growing, the ones that are in school right now, the ones, so they can try to fix kind of this world a bit.
Well, guys, you heard it. He said it, and that's just that. I mean,
education is the key, honestly.
Yeah, and that's why we are here. That's why we are here right now on this platform, and that's what we are doing.
And this conversation is also.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, it's all about raising awareness. You know, it's all about letting the people know. And to whoever is listening this, if you feel like there is anyone you know that needs to actually listen to this and learn from this, feel free to share this with the person, because
I mean, I'm under no impression that they would like learn a lot from listening to me, but
no, trust me. Look, this is what life is about at the end of the day. I believe that when we go through our experiences and we are at liberty, and I believe that it's quite relevant to share whatever we learn through our experiences, because that's really where the juice is at.
And so somebody feels identified, maybe, you know, because like I don't have it figured out. I'm still, like, as I mentioned, I'm still like, I'm trying to take care of myself still, and I'm trying to find this fulfillment in many, many, many things. I'm also very, you know, a very, I don't want to say diverse, how do you say, like, I have many things that I like, many interests, many abilities that I feel that I have. So I'm trying every day to kind of come up with a solution. Okay, how can I be happy? But it's not easy. So people should know that the struggle is real, but the perspective is everything in terms of how you look at the problems and how you try to come up with these solutions. And if you just, by listening to this rambling, you feel identified, like that's also, you know, helpful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's helpful. And of course, more than ever, if you feel empowered, you know, then that's the goal. I said earlier that I was fulfilled in my line of work. That doesn't mean that from a life perspective, I'm fulfilled or whatever or something, you know, because I believe that, like you said right now, we all chase so many things in life, not just one. So, finding fulfillment is a strive. It's a daily strive.
Yeah.
You know, and just like anything else in life, you have to go out. You have to go at it every day. And while you go at it, that's when that you find the comfort in it, because you are on the road. And again, it's a work of a lifetime. It's not something that you can just reach and then stop. No, it's a work of a lifetime.
Yes, you say like looking at somebody and just saying, oh, they're successful. Yeah, you're right. Like success is probably a path that doesn't stop. Like you can objectively look at someone in a certain industry, in a certain position, and be like, okay, that person for me is successful. But the only person that's truly going to define what success is you, and that's only for you. You cannot define what success is for somebody else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we just.
All right, guys, you know what? We're going to call it...
Is that it?
Oh, that's going to be it for today, because if we keep going, you're just going to get people to just call the whole village to sit down and listen to this. So whatever questions you have, okay, you keep it for the next episode. Yes. No, I'm not taking any more questions. And guys, you know what? Sergio, do you mind sharing your Instagram so that people can reach you there in case they want to?
Yes, people can find me every Friday at the local bar. No, okay.
I was like...
People can find me on Instagram like MX, like Mexico, S like in Sam, EEL, MXCO with 2 E's. I'm guessing you're going to write this because it's like complicated.
I mean, even I didn't get that. So guys, you know what? It will be written in the caption. Don't worry about that. We will mention him there. And of course, you can easily reach me as well on social media platforms as Stephane Dadjo. And that also will be actually in the caption. Of course, definitely it will be their profile where you actually get to watch this little clip, or else where you get to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And keep getting out there, guys. You know what? Keep showing up, keep showing off. And of course, if you have some thought to share about what you think about this particular topic of fulfillment and success, of course, feel free to reach out to us and let's talk about it. Let's exchange ideas. Remember, this is a platform whereby we all talk about different type of topics. It's not a platform to establish things as a general truth or whatever, or to force something on anyone. We are just sharing insight. We are having a discussion, and of course, we are just sharing knowledge and hopefully empowering each other. That's what it is about, and that's why we are here.
We're just two random guys speaking.
Exactly. So you know what? Thank you very much, Sergio. This was amazing.
Thank you for having me.
It was a great session, and of course, guys, you know what? Talk to you soon. Cheers.